Be sure and tell them Large Marge sent ya.
In the 90s, we were just teeny tykes. We went to movies and our bikes. We wanted to be DJs, but we were just teeny gals. So we went off to college and we remained as pals. 20 years later, we're still watching flicks and we're bringing you the favorite bit by bit. Sweetie and Sweetie are here to say it's the Large Marge Santa's podcast. Hey,
Hey guys, welcome to the Large Marge Santa's podcast, your favorite podcast where two sweetie sisters talk about their favorite flicks or TV shows from childhood. I'm Sweetie with a Y.
And I'm Sweetie with an IE.
And okay, this time it really has been a while and we're back.
Really only a month though. I thought it was way longer, but
Only a
our
month.
last episode was May 10th.
Wow. Yeah,
know,
so
it feels longer.
We've been out exploring Europe in different countries.
Yep.
I was in France. Sweetie was in Italy with our mother, Carol.
Basically, we live the plot of National Lampoon's European Vacation.
Just separate in separate countries individually.
Look, kids, Big Ben, Parliament.
And traveling takes a lot out of you. And then you're home and you're like, oh, I'm so happy I'm home. And you're like absorbing that. And then it's like, okay, now let's get back into our lives. But then we had a pickup thing, and then we, you know us.
It takes forever. There were birthdays in between there. There was Memorial Day. I got, I feel like you always get sick after a plane ride now. I got a plane cold.
I didn't get sick.
You didn't? Good for
I
you.
was just, up there in not first class, extra legroom,
That's
budget
where it's
airline
at,
seat where, when you're at the front of the plane, I guess maybe less germs get to you. So it's
remember
it's
that.
a win-win sitch.
Win-win sitch.
But yeah, so my pick. So I actually, Sweetie and I have been talking how we would like to do a lot more like mini episodes and talk more about like TV shows. I guess they don't have to be mini, I guess, if we have a lot to talk about, but like just incorporating more TV shows, getting back into like really those things that we did watch as children that we remembered. Because really that's like, I feel like it's, I do listen to like episodes where either we haven't seen them or only one of us has seen them. And it is funny, but it's like not as fun for the person that hasn't seen it. So trying to get back to that a little bit. So let's take a TV show. So the first one I picked was Under the Umbrella Tree.
Now, for this one, the theme song, I definitely remember. And when it played when we were watching the recaps, oh my God, I loved it. Who would ever wonder what could happen under
the umbrella
tree? Your imagination. Find an invitation under the umbrella tree. Okay.
It's cute.
We're so out of sync when we record remotely. Sorry.
This was they played it on the Disney Channel when we were wee ones. It's actually a Canadian TV show, which I didn't realize. I'm sure like all the TV shows we liked were Canadian, and we didn't even freaking realize it.
Well, now I can like totally tell
if
there's like a person at their Canadian accents. But so this played on the CBC, so Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, from 1987 to 1993, and then picked
that's a long
up
time.
Yeah, totally. They had like 200 episodes or something.
What?
Crazy. Disney picked it up and then aired it from 1990 to 1997. Whoa. So kind of a long time, but we would have watched it right at that pickup time of like 1990, like early 90s, because we were pretty little when we would be watching this.
Golden age. Yeah.
Because it was an adorable show.
Uh-oh. Yeah. Yeah, it was a puppet show. So this is your classic, like you have like one human person and then puppets. So Sesame Street-ish, except just like one human really, Holly. And then she has 3 roommates who are puppet animals. So you have Gloria Gopher, Iggy the Iguana, and Jacob Bluejay, or Jacob Blue, I guess is just his technical name, Jacob Blue.
I got the full names for you. So
Oh yeah.
Because
Gloria has a really long one. I saw that.
So Gloria's name is Gloria, Gladys, Grace, Gabrielle, Gardinia, Glenda, Gopher.
Nice.
Wow.
Love it. G.
Iggy is actually Ignatz Iggy nickname. Julio Iguana.
Oh.
And then Jacob is Jacob Barnaby Blue.
Cute. And then they live with Holly, the human, Holly P. Higgins. Holly Penelope Higgins, I think, is her full name. Mm-hmm. And she's an illustrator or like an artist or something. And unclear why she lives with these 3 puppets, but she does. And the show is just them learning lessons, basically, right?
Yeah. So
classic.
So I guess, I mean, did I realize this when we were watching this as kids that, you know, this is like a world where humans and animals interact like together. It's not like she doesn't know that they're animals, but it's like not strange that she would have animals as roommates. Not only animals, but like pint-sized little roommates.
Yeah, like chipmunk, like
literally
the chipmunk size.
Yeah, chipmunk size that
animals.
Almost like Dave Seville, right? Almost like the chipmunks. Where
Exactly.
like, totally normal to like adopt chipmunks and to like have them live as like people. But what I read in like the synopsis or the Wikipedia, it was like, and Holly pays the rent, like does the cooking and all the cleaning, and I'm like, these roommates are bullshit. Like they don't do anything.
Because I watched the origin story, and Jacob Blue was the original one that lived there. I don't know why no one else did, or like how he paid for the money for that.
How
house.
did he get the apartment?
And, yeah, like where's money coming from? I don't understand. But it's really funny because usually with like kids shows, you know, you're teaching them lessons about like sharing and don't cross the street alone and things like that. But this show really seemed like it was tips and tricks on how to be a good roommate versus like a good child. Yeah. Because the episodes were like privacy, like giving people privacy. And then what was the other one I watched? It was like clean up. If you're having company, like tell your roommates and like stuff like that.
And it's, I think part of that was because they never left the apartment, right? So like all the events had to happen in that apartment and had to do like with the apartment.
That's true. They didn't go on many field trips. Sometimes they would shoot like in front of the house, like outside. Oh, okay. That was like the most. But they'd always talk about like going to the park and stuff. And so
they leave, but like you don't see them.
Right, you don't see it. But
then there's all these other little characters that introduce. So they have all these friends. So we were just talking kind of before we started here. A lot of bird friends. So Jacob apparently is like the most popular guy in town.
I have a lot of bird
bird friends always coming over. I do remember Mitzi the dog, who eventually moves away, and Gloria only has like a phone relationship with her because in the private, episode, remember Jacob's eavesdropping, blah, blah, blah. We'll talk about it later. And so part of me was confused watching this about like their personalities, because sometimes they seem like adult personalities, but then sometimes they seem like little kid personalities. So I wasn't sure because they're like learning these lessons. So in the sense, like, especially Jacob, who seems, let's be honest, a little dim, like he kind of seems like a kid, but then like the other ones sometimes seem like adults, especially like Iggy, even though he's kind of like kind of the jerky one, I guess. I don't know if you call it that, but I wasn't sure like what they were supposed to be in their like age as animals.
Yeah, I don't know if they have ages or like is their dimness just like them being kind of humanized and like not understanding like human things versus like bird things. I don't know. Everyone else seems to be with it except for Jacob, so I don't really know.
But and then like Jacob's friend like had a job, like so he comes over for lunch
doing what?
He is like works in an office, and the whole plot was that like he is like a workaholic, and he brings like a briefcase to lunch and is like trying to make work calls at lunch. So he works at like a serious office. What the? I don't know. Very confused.
Weird. But I loved this show. I was a big Iggy super fan when I was little. I was obsessed with him. I actually got this plastic iguana toy that I had, and it was not like a stuffed animal like plush toy that was like enjoyable to hold on to. It was a hard lizard. It looked like a real iguana. I think we got it at the place we would go to in Naples, Jungle Larry's, if I'm not wrong. And the thing I remember most about that is that I named it Iggy after Iggy the iguana on Under the Umbrella Tree. And then he had this tail, this like really long tail, and I used to love like whipping it, putting my hand up, almost like an HJ action, if you will, on the tail. And then like when you got to the end, it would like whip your wrist and kind of sting you. And I was like, this is fun. It was such a weird thing, but I just like love that fucking iguana. And then parallel memory is that like, so Ma, and I always bring this up with Mom, and she's always like, who is that again? And I'll have to ask her again who it was, but she worked with this guy at the paper who was like Latino, and I had like brought the iguana around with me like one time, and he was like, oh, iguana, huh? Like we eat those in like wherever he was from in like a soup. And I was like, what? And I was like so upset. And I just remember that was just, that's
Why would you tell
another
a
memory.
kid that? That is like totally.
You know, I don't know. He's just
not allowed.
The adults like to mess around with me. I never liked it. I would
that
always
iguana
cry.
so well, though. That's so funny to like remember childhood toys or even like somebody else's. But like I remember that iguana
Iggy,
so well.
I miss you.
It was great. It was a great toy. It was totally a ridge and awesome to have. So yeah, I was thinking about other shows that had humans, like one human and then puppets, right? So that was like kind of a theme, especially in our childhood. Like there was a lot. So I feel like, you know, the OGs being, okay, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, right? And Lamb Chop. And, you know, we grew up heavily with those, I'd say.
Yep.
We watched both of those like all the time. And those were old though. Those really came about like before we were kids, and were sort of like the old ones that like, you know, previous almost generation, you know, Lamb Chop was like super old, right? And then Mr. Rogers debuted in like the 70s. But then Under the Umbrella Tree was kind of like the newish one. And then I feel like Nickelodeon had a couple others, or other like Big Comfy Couch. Was that one?
Yeah,
like
that was
Big Comfy
too.
Couch.
Yeah, we were too old for that.
Eureka's Castle, did that have a person in it? Or
I don't
was
think
all
so.
puppets?
That was all puppets from the one that I watched recently. But very similar vibe, where like the script is like, well, I guess I'll just make these cakes today, and then I need a pan. Like you're just like completely monologuing like your stream of consciousness, because like that's all you can do. Right. So very similar. To Eureka's Castle in that regard.
Then I thought a little bit later came Wienerville. Which was like the wacky, gross one, which like you really liked. Okay,
I hated it.
Like you watched a lot.
I know, but I hated it, and like I still think about it all the time, and I like bring it up to people, and I'm like, "Hey, have you ever seen that show Wienerville?
We should
gross
watch
me
that
out
for sure. It was disgusting.
It just like makes me feel ill when I think about it, and like I don't know why. I think I would just watch it because it was always on like after Doug or something, and I was like, I guess I have to. Why couldn't I turn it off? I don't know.
Ugh.
Gross. But yeah, those puppet shows have tough job being the one that has to carry the. I mean, the puppets do a great job, obviously, but it obviously and the person who's controlling the puppet is also obviously there. Maybe you see them as the human, but I would assume you're focusing on the actual puppet itself talking, right? But
yeah, I'd love to know what the sage was like, because like how was she walking all around and interacting with them, and the guys or girls were like lying down, like how, I don't know, I don't understand like how they were like underneath her.
We need I would like a documentary series about all the people who starred in a show where they were the only human, and like how are they dealing, how are they coping, what did they do after.
I know. I just think like mentally, how do you go to work every day? Like those shows were very long running, so it's not like it's like a flash in the pan. Like I can't handle this. I was watching. I think about this now as a Blue's Clues was another one I was going to bring up, even though that's not a puppet, but same idea. They started doing it with like animation, right? And like how that guy was like, oh my God, like so on so emotive, and especially when you're doing kid stuff. And now there's a new Blue's Clues guy, and Blue still exists. And then they made a movie, and I always see the previews.
Yeah, me too.
Because I'm always watching like kid shit. And there's this scene where this guy is running through Central Park with the cartoon dog with the most expressive, crazy run, and like to be doing that like in like on like a green screen or like not interacting with anything that's real, like good for you, man. Like wow, awesome. Like I hope something else comes out of this for you, because do you want to be known for that? Like, or the guy who plays like Blippi, have you seen the Blippi stuff yet? Yeah. I'm not into it, but he's like just this like, oh hi, I'm Blippi.
Is he a clown?
This weird hat. He's not a clown. He's just like a 20-something like guy with a weird hat, and like kids love him. And just like that's like how you're making your mark, and you're going to be known for that forever, and typecast, and probably like not being able to do anything else.
It's a job.
It is a job, and you get paid, I hope, a ton of money for it, because otherwise I would not want to.
We'll find out in the documentary that I will produce.
Well, I know. So I saw another thing that came up with the show was in 2020, they did another little bit, and it was called The Mass Special, and I thought it was like a behind-the-scenes thing. But they came back to do like a PSA during the pandemic about wearing a mask, and it's
Under the Umbrella Tree?
Yes, look it up. It's
Did
Under
Holly
the
come
Umbrella
back?
Tree. Yes, so it's but
what?
You'll love this. So they go into the little apartment. It's the same apartment, and Iggy's wearing like a cloth mask, and Jacob's in like a hazmat suit. So they're being like, Jacob, like you don't have to wear that. Like the cloth masks are fine. Like this is all we need. And then they're like, oh, like let's FaceTime with Holly. She's in quarantine. And Jacob's like, what does that mean? So then they FaceTime with Holly, and she's like in the cafe, and she's explaining to them, oh, like I interacted with someone. I mean, this is like early days of the pandemic, so people didn't know what was going on.
Oh my god, why didn't you share this with me?
I will. And you like, okay, she looks the same, but obviously, I hate to say it, much older, because she is. It was 30 plus years ago. She's like 60 years old.
Well, how old was she when she was I was trying to figure out like what was Holly's age when she was making this show. I will say that like wardrobe and makeup didn't do her many favors. She looked She looked at many times just like completely unhinged, and now I dropped my phone. Her hair is always like frizzy, and sometimes she would have just like insane lipstick on and really weird outfits. And she's an illustrator, so maybe they were like, trying to be like arty with her.
Yeah,
but I got a real kick out of it, I'll tell you.
She did seem to have a fun life. I mean, I watched this one called Holly Gets the Blues, and I'll talk about it. It's not about depression, guys. I was pretty upset. I'll tell you about the plot later. But she's all about, like, going to a party. And I'm like, okay, like, cool. She's a pretty fun life.
Yeah, Holly,
like,
get it.
She goes to parties. She has a cool job. Like, she has these... Okay, she has animal roommates. One of them sleeps in a bookcase. Like, why can't he have a bed?
Because he's little.
Oh, I guess he doesn't pay any rent,
there was
so that's okay.
A bed in there, I thought. I think they give him like a room later, like an Uncle Joey style. Like, surprise, you don't have to sleep in the alcove anymore.
Gloria lives actually
under the umbrella tree.
Under the umbrella
literally,
tree. Like a burrow. And then Jacob lives in the tree itself.
Yeah, like the tree outside.
Yeah. In like a house. Like a tree house? Okay. Or a birdhouse?
I think it's, I don't know. It might be
so
a tree.
Is it a one bed then?
Maybe. But then, like, so in the one that I watched, that was like how it all started. They were like, this apartment's too small for two of us, so only two of us can live here. So Jacob had to move out, and he moved to his tree on the porch. But then Holly they didn't. Holly wasn't around then, I guess, and like I don't know. I just had a lot of questions. I just want to know how did she find this? Like, did they put an ad in the paper? Like, did they put a sign outside? Room for rent, see within. P.S. You're gonna have to take care of 3 animal teenagers.
Childlike animals.
Strange.
Crazy.
But anyways, yeah, so the one we watched together, or not together, but we watched the same one, was called Private. And this was a good one for me to watch because I also don't like Jacob Blue. I also do not believe in privacy. Within reason. I think that I'm a snooper. So like if you've ever read Amy, not Amy Schumer, little Tina Fey, Amy Poehler's biography. She has like extensive chapters where she talks about how she's like the biggest snoop. And like I have similar urges of that. Like I just want to know everything about everyone. I want to know everything about you. I'm not really like a snooper anymore, but I love a secret. I love a goss, you know. And Jacob's just like very similar. Like he's like, oh, Holly has this jewelry box. I wonder what's inside of it, and like opens it up and sees. Like totally, why not? But he's like, oh, phone call? Yes, I will listen. Or like Gloria gets a letter that's like to Gloria, and he's like, yes, I will open this letter. And let her know what it is or whatever. And so the whole thing is like, Jacob, you have to respect people's privacy. And so that's the theme. And so he does various things like not respecting that. And then he learns his lesson. So, you know, typical episode. But really shed a lot of light onto Jacob Blue's character himself, who's actually probably my least favorite character when I was little.
Me too. Same.
And it's funny watching this. He's kind of like the main character. So I was surprised to find that out. But yeah,
he gave me like Ross Geller vibes. I don't know. I was getting like Ross from Friends,
idiot,
the way he spoke and his mannerisms and stuff.
His
I
style.
too dislike that character. Yeah, so much as a kid. Like I don't know if anyone related or like would pick Jacob as their favorite. I feel like
yeah, we should do a poll.
Yeah. Oh, we will.
Who is your favorite? Who's your favorite?
I mean, Gloria. I think Iggy, just because of like the humor, right?
Yeah, he was cool. He played the guitar. He was like an artist, like a musician.
He seemed to be the one like most with it. Like Gloria was just kind of like slow, like too not dumb, but like she wasn't dumb, but just like I don't know. I just like wasn't into her, and she looked like a friend of mine eventually. A friend of mine in high school ended up like looking like Gloria Gopher.
She like bulldozers and stuff, and I just like I didn't have a connection with that.
So her little like bio on the Wikipedia said she was a tomboy, and that she liked to keep her hobbies a secret. Like, what does that mean?
No wonder Jacob's so nosy. He's like, this bitch won't tell me your hobbies.
I mean, I personally, that episode, I was a little triggered because I was like, okay, like, I think I've been a terrible roommate because I too, like, was really snoopy. And I remember this one incident in college where I definitely, like, I had this inkling that my roommate was going to move out. And I was getting, like, kind of freaked out because, like, I didn't want a roommate and we were, like, best friends. And I was like, why isn't she telling me? And she ended up having, like, some mental breakdown, whatever.
Oh.
So to figure this out, because she wouldn't tell me, I did like look at her computer. She like left it on, and I like clicked on her email just to like see, and I did like do a little snooping, and she did find out and like yelled at me so bad, and like we weren't friends after. She moved out, but then like we weren't friends. And then she accused me of like stealing her socks. But again, like I grew up with sisters where we were like sharing everything.
Yes.
So
and
I thought borrowing her socks would be a big
and
deal.
I try to explain people that, and like whenever I get in trouble for snooping or like telling a secret, I'm just like, listen, we told each other everything in my family. We still do.
Yeah.
It's just like a thing we do.
Totally. And I'm not a secret person. Like I cannot tell you one thing that I know about myself that I wouldn't tell somebody.
Right.
Like I just don't.
I got nothing.
Function like
I'm an
that.
open encyclopedia,
like,
as I say.
Me too. Like I just do not function like that. For me, literally nothing is private. Nothing is, and I know that's not how everyone functions. Right. And it's just one of those things that's hard for me to see that. Yeah, exactly. So I was very triggered by this episode because I was looking inside. I was like turning the lens around, and I was like, oh my God, I am Jacob.
Me. Oh well. At least you're married now and have a child, so really privacy's right out the window.
Right, exactly. Like, who cares? Okay, so then the sorry. Are we done with this episode? I was going to talk.
No, I was going to talk about the fashion.
Oh, okay. Go for it.
So Holly is wearing a fabulous vest in this episode, and it reminded me of like how important vests were in the 90s. Like if you were like, I need a nice outfit for picture day, mom would take you to the mall or whatever, Filene's maybe, and you'd pick out a nice little like 3-piece set of like a skirt. like a button-down shirt, and then a vest, and the vest would always be like floral on the front, and then just like regular silk panels on the back, right? I'm thinking of, there's a picture of us, the three of us,
the like tapestry print
yes,
kind of one, right?
with yes, that was the one.
Yes.
Well, like mom also
she made
yes, you're right. Mom did make those vests because she also used some of that same pattern for like a quilt or something that we had in our house.
Try to find that picture.
But yeah, we'll find the picture of that. But Sweetie, I know, is rocking. Sweetie and our older sister Liz are wearing like matching vests. I'm in like a sweater or something cute because I'm a little bit younger. But yeah, vests, man, I really remember that. And I remember like in our like dress up closet, we would like some of the vests would be in there, and I'd be like, ooh, a vest. And like it would like always like compliment a weird outfit.
What were we wearing underneath the vest? Like a turtleneck, right? A turtleneck
or like a button up shirt or something.
What was Holly wearing under the vest?
I don't remember.
Probably a collared shirt. Yeah, collared shirt.
Sweater. I don't know. I don't know.
I think it was a collared shirt. Yeah, I loved her fashion. But yeah, good app. Like I said, slightly triggered, but I feel like it was a good, definitely like a learning one, right? So like not all of them were learning ones. So I'll talk about the one I watched. So as I said in the intro, my episode was called Holly Gets the Blues. So like I said, I knew this was a learning show. I was excited. I was like, Holly's depressed. Like, what are the animals gonna do now? No, my friends. This was not about depression. What happens is Holly is going to a party and she's going crazy. She's looking through her wardrobe. Nothing. I don't want to wear anything. And then Jacob's like, you should wear some of my feathers. Like, and he's blue, whatever. And she's like, oh, that's a good idea. I'll dye one of my shirts blue. And then it'll be like a brand new shirt to me.
She's not any blue shirts. Give me a break.
No. So she uses vegetable dye, and she's in the bathroom, and she dyes this shirt blue. She puts it up to dry.
Wait, why does vegetable dye make it blue?
I don't know. She made a big point of it was vegetable dye. You'll figure out why in a second. So then she's like you said, like has to like say everything she's doing. So she's like, I better empty this big vat of blue dye. So she's picking it up, and it's like really heavy, and you're like, this isn't gonna go well. But then Iggy comes racing in. He has to go to the bathroom really bad, and he runs into the bathroom, and he pushes the door, and she falls into the vat of blue dye. And her face gets dyed blue.
Holly gets the blues.
So then she's like, oh my God, like, what am I going to do? So then Iggy doesn't realize it's her, is convinced it's a blue monster, and runs screaming out of the apartment. Then the other roommates come back. He's like, oh my God, there's a blue monster. They finally figure out it's just Holly. She won't let them in because she's so embarrassed. But finally, like, they're like, we want to see it. So then they see it, and she's like, okay, you got to help me. Like, you have to go down to the store and get like really strong soap. Like, I'll wait here. Then little Chuck Chickadee comes in and says, is there a blue monster in here? Apparently he paid Jacob 25 cents to go look at the blue monster in the apartment. But then he gets like all freaked out, and like she's about to come out and like show her face, and he like leaves, and he's not there. Anyway, so then they come back with like the blue soap, and then Jacob also said she should like scrub with a Brillo pad or something, her face. I don't know. So she ends up being able to take off the blue dye, but then she forgot she had her hair in like a towel, and her poofy bangs were sticking out, and she forgets that part, and just her bangs remain blue. Oh. So she's like, oh my God, I can't go to the party. What am I going to do? Then her friend calls, and luckily the friend says it's a costume party. So she turns her whole thing into a clown costume.
Classic.
And with big blue hair, and is able to go to the party after
thank
all.
God. Saved again. Yeah, I watched a couple. I watched
really good up.
Holly's Irish cousin comes to visit, which is just Holly in doing an Irish accent in a wig. There's one where Jacob invites his chickadee friends over for chickadee tea, but then doesn't show up. He like ghosts the party because he's busy picking flowers or something. And Holly's like, Jacob, when you make plans with friends, you have to be here.
I know a few friends who could learn that lesson.
What?
People cancel all the time now. Rude.
Oh, no, but this is like they were there and he just didn't show up.
A no-show.
He got distracted trying to find flowers for Holly or something. And so the one I remember the most, the episode, but I couldn't find this on YouTube, but it's probably not called something obvious, but it was when Holly like lost her voice or something. And the way they get it back is she like finally, they try all these things, but the only thing that actually works is she like drinks lemon juice or something, and that brings her voice back. And I like always remember that. It's like, gotta remember that when I lose my voice. I think I did lose my voice once. And I may have tried just like a squirt of lemon juice, but I don't think it worked. So it was a myth. A myth. But yeah, super cute show, just like very low budge. I love that, like it's like all on that like one set and stripped down. So yeah, super cute. This is a different time. I am interested to know if what would Sweetie Jr. think of this show? Would she be entertained? Would she be like scared? Like, what's the sitch?
I'll tell you, today we did like a little storybook thing on the computer, like I was telling you, and one of the ones was Three Little Pigs. So I was like, okay, let's do it. Very scared of the wolf. Couldn't handle the wolf.
Well,
turn it off,
Jimmy, sweet-eyed Jimmy was a scary wolf for Halloween, and
I know
scared her once
like
with that mask.
Ingrained in her, I guess. So yeah, I mean, I don't think she'd be like obviously scared of the puppets, but yeah, I'll show it to her. I'd like to see. They're all on. We just found them all on YouTube. They're all on there. If you want to take a look. I didn't look to see if they played them on like old Nickelodeon, like Paramount has them. Probably not, right?
Well, no, because it was Disney, wasn't it?
Oh, it was Disney. Sorry. Yeah. And Disney doesn't have any of its like pickup stuff. Okay.
Not yet, really.
But yeah, so super fun, so cozy. Like, just a very like, gotta love those puppet shows, I'll say.
Totes.
Really
There's something about them when they're not, as long as they're not creepy, like puppets. I'm fine with it. Yep. Just like, don't put the hands on. Like, hands, no good. Don't give an animal puppet human hands. That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm saying. Right. Exactly. Makes sense.
Yeah. And these ones were really cute, definitely. And I love
they had animal hands.
Their own little personality and like, all the little animal friends. So there's just like such good like dynamics to this one.
Yeah. It was cute. Sweet. It was cute. Yeah, well, that's our little mini episode. So, thanks for listening. You can find us on Instagram at @largemarge. Sent us. Thank you, as always, for listening. Bye.
Bye. Mini-ep.